Sunlight dances on turquoise waves. Palm trees sway along golden shores. Honolulu is a place many call paradise. But during the mid-1980s, a string of murders shattered that image, plunging the island into fear and uncertainty. This is the story of the Honolulu Strangler, Hawaii's first known serial killer. I'm your host, Dan David. Welcome to City of Nightmares. Honolulu sits on the southeastern coast of Oahu, nestled between the Pacific Ocean and the volcanic ridges of the Ko'olau Range. Today, it's a city of over 350,000 residents and millions of yearly visitors, a crossroads of cultures, languages, and traditions. The city's name comes from the Hawaiian words hono, meaning bay, and lulu, meaning sheltered. Long before it was a bustling city, the area known as Kau was a hub of royal activity. It was here that Kamehameha I established his seat of government after uniting the Hawaiian Islands in the early 19th century. Throughout the 1800s, Honolulu blossomed as a strategic port, attracting traders, missionaries, and whalers. By the time the Hawaiian Kingdom was overthrown in 1893, Honolulu had grown into a modern urban center filled with government buildings, businesses, and diverse communities of immigrants from Japan, China, Portugal, the Philippines, and beyond. Honolulu's modern skyline rose dramatically in the decades after Hawaii became the 50th U.S. state in 1959. Hotels shot skyward in Waikiki, catering to booming tourism. By 1985, tourism was pumping billions into the local economy. Yet beneath the postcard-perfect scenery, social tensions existed, including issues like rising crime, a growing drug trade, and strains between rapid development and cultural preservation. Pearl Harbor looms large over Honolulu's identity, a place where tragedy and history intersect. But for 5 women and their families, a different kind of tragedy would unfold in the mid-80s, and for the first time, Hawaii found itself confronting the specter of a serial killer. On May 29, 1985, 25-year-old Vicki Gale Purdy went out for a night of fun in Waikiki. She was a military spouse whose husband was stationed at Schofield Barracks. Vicki was dropped off at the Shorebird Hotel by a friend to enjoy the nightlife. She was last reportedly seen arguing with a man near the hotel's parking structure. The next morning, her body was discovered in Kihei Lagoon. Her hands were bound behind her back, and police determined she had been sexually assaulted and strangled. Her murder was shocking, but at first, it seemed like an isolated incident. Nearly 8 months passed with no apparent connection to Vicki's case. But on January 14, 1986, the nightmare resumed. Regina Sakamoto, just 17 years old, vanished while waiting for her morning bus to her local community college. She had missed her regular bus and planned to catch the next one. 10 days later, her body was found. Like Vicki, Regina had been strangled and her hands bound. Suddenly, detectives realized they might be dealing with a serial predator. Just 2 weeks later, on January 30th, 1986, 21-year-old Denise Hughes, a telephone operator and part-time student, was reported missing. Her body was discovered wrapped in a tarp in Moanalua Stream. She too had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and bound. Hysteria was mounting in Honolulu. news outlets began referring to a possible serial killer. Women were urged not to hitchhike or walk alone. Police patrols increased around bus stops and major highways. On March 26, 1986, tragedy struck again. Louise Medeiros, 25, had flown back from Kauai after attending her mother's funeral. She was last seen at the Honolulu airport after landing. Her body was discovered in Waikiki Stream, the same general area where Regina Sakamoto had been found. The final known victim was Linda Pesce, a 36-year-old businesswoman who vanished on April 29, 1986. Linda was last seen leaving work in the city. The next day, her car was discovered near the Nimitz Viaduct. Police organized a massive search, including helicopters and search dogs. On May 3rd, Linda's body was located at Kihei Lagoon, eerily echoing the discovery of the first victim. At this point, the Honolulu Police Department officially formed a 27-person task force. The FBI flew in to assist, creating criminal profiles and advising on the investigation. Over 3,000 people were interviewed, and numerous polygraphs were administered. Police detained a primary suspect, a 43-year-old mechanic from Iwa Beach named Howard Gay. A witness claimed to have seen him with Linda Pesce's car. He failed a polygraph and was identified in a lineup by a woman who said he was the man she'd seen with Linda's vehicle. But despite intense suspicion, there was a crucial problem. No physical evidence linked Gay to the murders. No DNA, no fingerprints, no direct forensic connection. Authorities ultimately released him without charges. The murders stopped after his release, leading many to believe he may indeed have been the killer. But officially, the case remains unsolved. Retired Honolulu police detective Gary Diaz, who led the task force, reflected years later in a KITV interview.
It was terrifying because the feeling in the community was that you could be next. It was so random. We didn't have much to go on.
And in an episode of Investigation Discovery's Hawaii's Darkest Secret, Diaz said,
"We had our suspect, but we just couldn't make the case stick. We didn't have that evidence we needed to make it beyond a reasonable doubt."
For the families of the 5 women, the lack of resolution has been a lingering wound. Honolulu, meanwhile, has tried to move forward. But the legend of the Honolulu Strangler endures in local memory as a haunting reminder that even in paradise, shadows can fall. The murders of Vicky Purdy, Regina Sakamoto, Denise Hughes, Louise Medeiros, and Linda Pesce remain Hawaii's most infamous unsolved serial killings. To this day, no one has ever been charged. And so, Honolulu, a place of sunshine and surf, remains, for some, a city of nightmares. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the show for more. New episodes premiere every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Join me next time as we travel to Chicago, Illinois, to explore the haunted halls and sinister legends of the Congress Plaza Hotel, a place whose glamorous past hides secrets that refuse to stay buried. Until then, this is your host, Dan David, reminding you all to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next episode.
Nope.